Welcome in, guys. Tobin here with you. Thanks for checking out the channel. Hope you're doing fantastic. If you guys could subscribe to the channel, that'd be great. Hit the like button. And also, Tobin and Leroy, weekdays, 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. on YouTube. You guys can watch us on there, 560, Miami 560 WQAM. That is the handle. Put it in the description. Also, go subscribe and watch us there live every single day. We'll be doing some, by the way, live chats coming up here as well. You guys can get your questions in. I'm going to do the first one on Thursday, June 20th, 9 p.m., and I'm calling it Tobin's Whale Bag. You can get your questions in on the chat, and we'll have some fun, people. Now, a couple things I want to get to here in the stratosphere, in the ether. There was a report today as I was leaving for work. I saw this come across my Twitter timeline. That was interesting because it suggested that the Milwaukee Bucks are interested in possibly moving on from Brook Lopez. You guys know me. I'm usually sitting there, and taking big old, Gary Sheffield, Cliff Floyd, Miguel Cabrera, Giancarlo Stanton hacks at free agency. Like, that's what I want. But there is something to be said for, almost in this pains me, but like a Celtics type way. Disgusting, by the way, this Jason Tatum walking around town with that Larry O'Brien trophy. Is it possible that the Heat go the route of the Celtics, which is, do they just find better, sturdier fits around Bam and Jimmy Butler? Though it's not necessarily, hey, we got to go get the bona fide all-star or the guy who could put up 25 that can replace all that right away, but maybe can you find the more secure pieces, the more secure role players to put around Bam and to put around Jimmy for one more run? And would a Brook Lopez, make sense for this Heat team? We know that he could light it up from three. We know that this guy has turned himself, strangely enough, Brook Lopez, into a really good rim protector and defender. A guy that, had given Bam some issues before he carved him up in the end of their first round series that ended in gentleman's sweep, especially that finishing game. But yeah, it could be a handful, that giant ass ostrich. Could the Miami Heat find themselves in a position where they go after a Brook Lopez, who I think makes something like $26 million, which would be like, just off the top of my head, that'd be like something to the effect of like, would you trade Duncan Robinson for Brook Lopez, right? Like, they get more shooting, supplant maybe like the likes of like a Grayson Allen being gone. Heat get more size. They're having Giannis more as a small ball five. And then the Heat are going to try some experiment of Brook Lopez as their center. Stretch center, though, a guy who can shoot it, Splash Mountain, and Bam can rove around and be, kind of free to do some more things and have the ball in his hands in other places. And, could that be something that works out, especially with the way that Brook can stretch the floor? You have somebody who, can somewhat be with the likes of like a Kristaps Porzingis at times, just to add more size. And then, of course, you also have the interesting thing that came out with the draft, where ESPN's latest mock draft has the Miami Heat selecting Zach Edey. Not that mock drafts mean a whole lot, as we've gone over these things in the lead up to next week. They've been all over the place. But Zach Edey has been a name that's been really connected to the Heat in all of this. We don't really know about his shooting. He's shown elements of it, but we don't know that he could do that. And if you were going to bring him in, you bring him in with the element of, hey, can you watch a Brook Lopez, and can we get used to this? Because you bring Brook Lopez in for a rental, you bring in Zach Edey for those backup minutes, then all of a sudden you have a power rotation that maybe you're actually like strong with and feel something with. So I found that one to be interesting. I found that one to be an interesting name because I had wondered if the Heat are, now he's getting up there. You're not getting any younger with a Brook Lopez. You're almost looking this, and you're also looking at this like this. If the Heat don't, let's look at it like this. What if the Heat don't give Jimmy Butler his extension, which I am totally for. I want them to. I just feel like I have to make that caveat every time it's brought up. But what if the Miami Heat are going to just maybe do almost like a one last dance with Jimmy Butler, right? Like Jimmy Butler is going to play balls to the wall, and maybe, that whole, if you say you're going to do something, do it. They don't do it. He's going to be like, all right, doing this last year, and I'm on the outskis. So you do that. You usurp it up to get just one more year, and you find the most seamless fits to add to these guys and see what happens. See what happens, see where it goes. And you hope that obviously the health is a lot better this year. But I thought that to be an intriguing name. Now, on the juicier side of things, Udonis Haslem, who has been doing work on ESPN, he went on there and discussed Donovan Mitchell on NBA Today. Now, I got the Shams notifications, the Woj bombs, all this stuff that are up there. We'll see. But for now, he is not. I think he's in France for, I think it's Fashion Week or something like that. I think Terry Rozier was there too. But with the extension not being signed, questions remain. And to Udonis Haslem, so he went on NBA Today yesterday, and he had this to say about Donovan Mitchell and his contract situation.
Where Spida should be with the free agency situation, what are you thinking about his best fit?
I mean, I think you stay out east. And I have a question. If he was going to stay in Cleveland, then why doesn't he sign the extension? If you're trying to get free agents and you're looking to improve your team and get ready for the future, then the best thing to do is have your best player already signed. So when you pitch into these guys, hey, come to Cleveland, this is what we're trying to do. We already got Donovan Mitchell. This is the future. So I don't know if he's really interested in going back to Cleveland. I don't think Cleveland is his first choice. I think he might really want to get out of Cleveland. If you look back when he was traded to Cleveland, Cleveland wasn't even on his radar of teams where he wanted to go. It was New York. It was another team down south somewhere. I ain't gonna say no names, but it was other teams that he was talking about going to. So Cleveland was never on the list of teams that he really wanted to go to in the first place.
Man, this guy, look at this. That's a savant right there. You want to talk about an absolute shark? UD knows how to do it, dude. But look, it's the Heat's plan A. I imagine it's the Heat's plan A. My opinion, it should be the Heat's plan A. Organization that I do think they're on better terms with. Colby Altman, I think they're on better terms with. Did the Max Strus sign trade. Did the Dwayne Wade deal. Don't think it's as frosty as it used to be. Do think that you'd want to get the most that you could for Donovan Mitchell in a location he wants to go to. Now, you do have to wonder about the Heat because their trade talks have gotten kind of frosty in the past summers. We can't ignore that. So I will say this. Look, even if the Heat are rumored, what I am going to learn from the Damian Lillard thing, even though I'm interested in everybody and I can be talked to in anybody, even though everybody's mad at me about the Trae Young thing, I am going to try and be in a place where I am not going to get my hopes up and I'm not going to get crazy about it. I'm going to try. Can't promise. I'm a bit of a carnival barker and a clown. Can't help it. I am what I am. But I'm going to try not to get crazy about any rumblings until it actually happens. Because I thought last summer was a slam dunk and it turned out to be Shaqtin' a fool. So I'm hopeful. But it is interesting UD mentions it. His connection to Bam. Bam's connection to Donovan Mitchell. Not like he would know nothing, right? Not like he would know nothing. So, I don't know. Found it pretty interesting. The other thing that was kicked around today in Heatland is surrounding a draft pick. We mentioned this guy a few videos back as a potential draft pick to Miami. But there were some things kicking around where it had said that the Heat, Lakers, and Sixers are showing interest in Tristan Da Silva. According to ESPN, Da Silva was a surprising omission from the NBA's early green room list. He still may earn an invitation with a firm interest inside the top 20. He has interest as high as Memphis at 9, but will likely fall into the next range where an array of playoff caliber teams, including the Kings, Heat, Sixers, and Lakers, are all interested in his services. So I'm pretty excited about next week's draft. I know it's not looked upon as like the greatest crop, but I do feel like there's so many interesting things that could fall to the Heat at 15. And knowing their ability to get the most out of these guys, they don't whiff very much. They don't whiff very much. So it feels like whoever they take, so long as that guy's not immediately put out as a trade piece, feels very much like, hey, this guy's going to help. He's going to contribute. He's going to give the Miami Heat something in the realm of production. And Tristan Da Silva feels very much like he could do that right off the bat. So some interesting stuff there as well. So I don't know. It's kicking around, man. It feels like we're starting to get into full gear with the NBA offseason.